We at Desert Designs Knits are introducing a new fall yarn we are really excited about. Orbit, the new yarn from Trendsetter, is a very unique product. You do not need knitting needles to make a 15-minute scarf. In this video, we will show you close up how to use this fabulous yarn with your own two hands. Orbit comes in 5 scrumptious colors: vanilla, denim, olive, rust, and mulberry tones. You will not be able to knit just one. Enjoy our video. Alright, we'll begin with the slip knot and place the loop on the left wrist. Using the right hand as a needle, insert your hand through the loop from front to back, pull the tail up, give it a twist, place it on your left wrist. Go between the 2 loops on your left wrist, pull up your yarn, give it a half twist, place it on your left wrist. Again, going between the last 2 loops on your wrist, pull your yarn up, give it a half twist, place it on your wrist. For your last cast on, again, reach between the last 2 loops, pull up your loop, give it a half twist, and place it on your left wrist. To begin the knitting process, we will insert the right hand into the stitch and keep your yarn in front. Reach from the back of the stitch towards your body. Pull up your yarn through the loop, place it on your right wrist, and drop the first loop off your left wrist. For your second stitch, reach from the back of the stitch towards your body. Pull your yarn from the front through your loop, place it on your right wrist, drop the stitch from the left wrist. Again, keeping your yarn in the front of your work. Reach from the back of the stitch to the front, pull your loop through onto your right wrist, and drop the left stitch. From back to front, pull your loop through to the right wrist, drop the left. Same procedure for the final stitch. Pull down to straighten your work. Now we'll proceed with what seems like normal knitting. Reach your left hand through the front of the stitch to the back. Pull your yarn through the loop, place it on your left wrist, and drop the loop from your right wrist. And at this time, your yarn is at the back of your work. Reach through the front loop on your right wrist, pull your loop through and place it on your left wrist, and drop the loop from your right wrist. We'll continue through the front loop, pulling a loop through, placing it on the left wrist, dropping the loop from the right wrist. Coming through the front loop of your right wrist, pull up your loop, place it on your left wrist, and drop the right loop. Same thing for the final stitch. Come through the front, pull your loop through, place it on your left wrist, and drop the right loop. And you've now completed 2 rows. Continue the 2 rows of garter stitch until enough yarn remains to bind off. Binding off, You will begin by knitting the first 2 stitches. When you have 2 stitches, you take the back stitch over the front stitch and drop it off. Continue knitting another stitch. Take the back stitch over the front. We'll proceed like that through the row. Always dropping or taking the stitch behind over the stitch on the front. When you have 1 stitch remaining, you simply pull your tail through and lock your stitch, and your project is complete. To complete the project, we'll be weaving in our tails. To secure the tail, since it's made up of a chain, separate out the different pieces of the end. You'll have some leftover strands of yarn. Simply pull them out, and you will be left with 3 loops plus your tail. Take the 3 loops, place them on a crochet hook, and then pull the first loop under the second loop, the second loop under the third loop, and take your end yarn, pull it through your last chain, and you can secure your tail. The final step is to bury the tail. We've reduced our chain down to just a single strand. I'll go back through the inside of the chain with my crochet hook and pull the end down through a similar color. Just pulling it back inside through the chain. I will continue to wrap this end down through the edge of the project until the end is just hidden in the edge. I'll take my crochet hook one last time, put it back into the same color, pull my end through, and cut it off. Now the tail has been worked in and buried.